Right. Good morning, Robert.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
Good. All right. So here we are, Robert from Blockchain Education, and I trading the NASDAQ open.
Yeah. Now, the one thing to note about the NASDAQ is it set all-time highs yesterday, above 19,000. It held it in a range overnight, basically a $40 or $50 range. And it just did a reaction to some news that came out, and it bounced pretty close to the bottom of the sideways channel. So I was about to go short a few minutes ago, and I changed my mind because it's just it's one of those days.
Yeah. And one thing I guess to note for the people is that there's kind of two market opens that we look at. We look at the 5:30 a.m. I guess our time here specific right now for me, and then 6:30 is in New York. So it's like, it's the other way around. Like at 5:30 East Coast, then like 6:30 for the Chicago, right?
Well, I kind of need to correct that just a bit. 5:30 seems to sometimes have volatility right at that exact time, and the Chicago Mercantile actually opens at 5 a.m.
5 a.m. Okay.
Pacific time, so 7 a.m. Central. New York Stock Exchange opens at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time or 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So I believe that the reaction that we got a couple of times about a week or two ago at 5:30 was due to news that comes out at that time, from the Fed reports and whatnot. So the 5 a.m. Pacific is the CME open, and 6:30 is the Pacific is the New York Stock Exchange open. So the volume really comes in at 6:30. You can literally just see it just attack the market. So whatever it's going to do in that first few minutes will set the tone for the day of trading.
Yeah, and we're usually watching. Well, I mean, since the last trading day, closed, and then early in the morning, kind of getting a setup and an idea of which way it's going to move, and then there's different futures at play that we can work with. But I guess recently you've been focusing mostly on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, that's true. I actually started trading in traditional futures in gold, and it's a pretty lucrative market as far as the moves that it makes. But the NASDAQ is basically the mother of all futures trades. It's the most difficult to master, the most challenging, and the most profitable if you get it right. And there's I wouldn't say a lot of days, but I would say that some days you just kind of stay out of the market because you're trying to keep your risk down. Like yesterday, when I missed the signs that happened at 6:30 a.m., which were big, tall candles engulfing each other in opposing ways 3 or 4 times, and then a breakout, a higher high, I should have just gotten in on a long and stayed in all day. I could have literally left my trade open all day. I could have even stacked multiples of units, but I stayed out. I missed that entry, and after that, since we were basically in uncharted territory, I couldn't get a good entry, and I tried to short it once, and I think I ended up making, a really small scalp, and then it just went back up. So pretty much stayed out of the market yesterday. Now today the market is going to be interesting because we have this this range that it's been doing for the last.
And you should be able to share your screen, I think.
Okay, let's see if I can do that.
See if you can do it. think there'll be
I'm
a
not sure how.
present.
Is it under settings?
There'll be at the bottom of the screen. There should be a present button.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is our first time doing this, so we're kind of figuring a few things out, like how we're gonna make it happen.
Here it is.
Yeah.
All
Add to
right.
stage. Boom. Oh, there we go. And then I can, while you're just chatting, I can just make it. That's big enough for people to see, I think. Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll get rid of the indicators and just go like that and move this over. So this is our range since yesterday's open at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central. So we're running a fairly tight range. I'm going to move this down just a bit here so that it matches. So if you discard the anomaly at the top of a little breakout and then dive back under, you're looking at about approximately a $43, $42 range.
Mm.
So we can either stay in this range or we can test new highs. Now the biggest influencer on the NASDAQ is NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is just screaming. So this is NVIDIA on 15-minute candles. It's pretty crazy. All-time highs. I mean, the all-time high was set back at the end of March at 962s, and now it's 1224. So NASDAQ is really being influenced by NVIDIA, and other, of course, assets. But I do expect that the NASDAQ will probably do something pretty dramatic today. Now, as far as trading this, the safest way to trade the NASDAQ today is to basically either go long at the bottom of this particular sideways channel, or just stay out of it. I probably wouldn't short the top, just because with all this retesting of the upper range here, just above 19,100, you don't know if that push is going to be the one that, sends it to the moon, or just breaks out and forces you out of the trade. So that is the NASDAQ today. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the why it's so volatile. This is the NASDAQ mini, electronic mini futures, known as NQ. Now the NQ is $5 a tick. How much is a tick? 25 cents. So if it moves 25 cents, that's $5. So it moves $1. That's in price range. If it moves just up or down $1, that's $20. So this thing can literally move $30 or $40 in a few seconds, quite easily. I've seen it happen. It's just, the reason is that there's big futures traders out there. Instead of being able to use, anywhere between 1 and 10 units, kind of think of it like leverage, 1x to 10x. There's big futures traders out there that can have hundreds of units, because they have they're either using their own money in a large account, or they're using a live, fully funded prop account where they have, basically unlimited power to push the market. Sometimes big orders will get placed and then disappear. They pull them. That's also done to influence the market. So that keeps the traders from that are really looking at the order book, it keeps them from really going after those major price areas. So it is a little bit tricky at times. I have found the best time to trade the NASDAQ is after a pretty definitive move, like after a big dump or after a big pump, when it's just clearly struggling and really either overbought or oversold. I have a certain system that I use, and it works extremely well, especially after a definitive move is getting over with. So let's see, what else can I cover? The NASDAQ is influenced a lot by news events. So all of the all the news that comes out of the Fed, jobless rate hike, and all this stuff. There's a jobless announcement came out this morning. Rate hikes come out periodically. Those all influence the NASDAQ. A lot of times when there's news coming out or getting ready to come out, a lot of the smaller traders will stay out of the market because of volatility, expectations. You know, it can just do really crazy things before a major news event, in the anticipation that it's going to be something positive or something negative, especially. So, is there anything you'd like to ask or talk about? Or? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that one thing that also affects the volatility is whenever the Fed's going to say something. So those are days that I tend to be a little bit more careful, because it's hard to tell if the market's going to react at all, negatively, positively. It's just it's one of three things. Nothing happens, it dumps, or it pumps, and I find that to be really hard to call. So those are days that I tend to either not trade or just be extra careful, because whenever the Fed's going to say something, some kind of an announcement about whatever, if you have like the CPI coming out, or any news event that we are planning on hearing, is definitely one to be wary. And then and so right now we're looking at TradingView, and of course to get TradingView to be real time for these markets, you have to pay the extra $5 or so a month to get the real time for the futures and such. So also, can we look at the you mentioned like the gold futures and also oil, because I know those are kind of things that people definitely have interested in, is trading gold futures these days, as well as oil, because we're definitely living in a volatile time with great opportunity for oil. I mean, well, it kind of seems like it's just not doing anything these days. It seems like it should be moving, but it's not. So it's kind of a mystery. But I have a feeling eventually we're going to see that oil take off like a rocket ship to Pluto. Eventually, I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, the oil has been pretty interesting over the last few months.
Yeah.
So if you look back to the middle of December last year, it was $68 a barrel, and recently the top was about 87.5. That was April 5th. So it's down now to $74.25 approximately, and it is reflected in the pumps as far as how much you pay for gas. So there is definitely a direct correlation between crude light and gasoline prices, which is obvious. But some states are luckier than others, such as Texas. A lot of refineries, a lot of oil there. They're $1 to $2 lower than other states.
Oh wow!
Here we're paying just under $4 a gallon, and my friend in Texas says it's like $2.80 there. So
Wow. I had no
I think
idea. Yeah.
I think in Florida they're paying like, 4.75, $5 a gallon. So
Mm.
it's pretty crazy. It kind of makes me not want to go long on crude oil
Yeah.
because I don't want to contribute to the larger problem of pushing the
Yeah.
price up and having it be reflected at the pumps. Of course, it's really one trader is not going to do that. They're not going to have any impact on it. But, a drop in the ocean, as they say.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It definitely seems like it's, I don't know. I just have this overall feeling that it's pretty, repressed at the moment. So I know the oil futures are ones that something I really do get excited about trading only because I know it's sort of I don't know, maybe it's a bit of maybe not the best, trading methodology, but I kind of watch it just because I think that it's definitely, with world conflict and such, you could see it go, straight up over $100 a barrel in a day, and if you happen to have that long in, I mean, anyway,
yeah.
maybe I'm trying to profit off Doom too much, but it is one that I watch.
Well, some groups are lucky as they can actually do overnight holds in traditional futures markets. Other groups are restricted to 22 or 23 hours a day of trading.
Mm-hmm.
So the group that I'm with, um, they open at 5 p.m. Central. So that's the open of the trading day. Then the trading day ends the next day at 3 p.m. Central. So your trades have to be flat by something like 3:10 or 3:15 p.m. Central Time. Otherwise, they'll just close your trade.
Mm.
So, in a way, it's kind of good for me because I'm not just sitting here glued to the computer all day. I can get
Yeah.
out, go for a hike, live a little,
Yeah.
get some
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah, that is one of the things with crypto trading or forex, you could say, but crypto trading versus traditional. As traditional does have working hours, where the crypto market, of course, is 24/7. So kind of a double-edged sword either way. But it is good to especially with trading futures like this. So you get up in the morning. Maybe it's not early for some people, maybe it's early for others, but in general, you can kind of make your money for the day, and you get up early in the first hour of the day, you're out. Unless you
Yeah,
let it
true.
ride. So it sometimes with the 24-hour advantage of crypto trading, it's great, but you know. Uh, Having those working hours of getting up and then by noon, unless things are really working for you, you're just done, and you can say, I made my money, now it's time to go on and do other things. Where crypto trading, I find, you can end up, like you're saying, just glued to the screen and you're just trading all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've spent enough years looking at charts all day, trading crypto, trying to add different strategies, um, and a lot of time looking at just blank candle patterns without indicators or anything on it. Just watching price action.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing, especially when you're looking over, well, in a 24-hour market, you're looking at trends, you can look at different, time frames and such, but sometimes it is just kind of flat, and that's just how it's going. But with the morning futures trading, well, maybe it's not a good day, and you just stay out. But if it's looking like it's going to set up well, it's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more, because I mean, I'll still always be trading crypto, but um, it compresses your whole day and your whole chart study into a small amount of time, rather than just endlessly, like you're saying. I think eventually you can just start to see nothing at a certain point. Nothing harder than like trying to trade on a day when things are just flat, when it's just not a good trading day. But at least in this case, your trading day, it's an hour. you know
yeah, like you said, especially with the the traditional futures markets, gold, NASDAQ, crude oil, S&P 500, you can basically, there's a lot of traders that are, kind of professional traders that actually, they start scoping out the market just before the New York Open. They get ready to trade at the New York Open. And within that first half an hour, if there's really nothing going on or there's no good setups, they just decide, well, there's nothing good today, so we'll wait for tomorrow. Now, if there is trading after New York Open, you can basically trade the first 2.5 or 3 hours of the market and then just go and do a second job or go for a hike, go to the coast,
Yeah.
And, so being able to trade the fast markets in the morning is a good lifestyle if you can, at least make some good profit, 70 or 80% of the time.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from the NASDAQ about risk management. Risk management is actually number one in trading an asset like this because you can absolutely get destroyed if you don't do it right. I started out using an e-broker called TradeAvate, which you can execute trades directly through TradingView. I was doing market orders only, market in, market out, not using stop losses. Basically just scalping. It works out well until it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I started using a platform called TopStepX. So now I just use my TradingView for the charts, the indicators, and I use the TopStepX, which is just a bare platform that has really fast execution times. So it's just one click in and drag your stop loss down from your entry price. That appears. Drag your entry up, get your take profit on a long, and then just set it and forget it. If you have a good reward versus risk ratio, like say 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, you can just leave your trade and go off to the store, or go for a bike ride. It's going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So if you have a good setup in the NASDAQ or in any traditional futures asset, or index, just set your stop loss and your take profit. Stop loss, of course, is based on how much you can afford to lose. If you've got a $350 drawdown, but you stand to make, $2,000 on the way up, you got a great setup. Just leave it, let it go.
Yeah.
Because your first decision is going to be the right one. If you go and start changing the, fiddle with the stop loss, change the take profit, lower it due to fear, whatever. All those emotions creep in later. Whatever you think first is more subconscious than conscious. It just knows. So what I'd recommend is once you got a good setup, set it and forget it. Don't change it.
Yeah.
So
that's a big one. And that's one thing. If a person has done a lot of, the more you do it, the better. But I find that it does definitely help if you have some good, chart skills. If you've been doing it a while, the longer person's been doing it, etc. That helps. But also, like something you'd mentioned, you would traded other futures, but right now you're just mostly focused on the NASDAQ because you're like, well, just master one, get to know one really well, and that can be your livelihood right there because you master one rather than playing a bunch of them, and that makes sense. And I've heard of that too. Traders who they make a fortune and they trade one thing, but they know it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If you try to focus on too many different assets, you're just going to get kind of distracted, and one's going to be taken off while you're looking at something else, and then you missed a perfect long or a perfect short.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. I would say trade one or maybe two assets and just kind of forget about the rest. Now, what some of the traders do is, they have different indexes they look at. They look at the NASDAQ, S&P 500, Dow Jones, maybe gold, and kind of just leave the rest. Don't even have them on your chart. I've got quite a few of these are my favorites that I have on the chart. NASDAQ, gold, crude oil, micro Bitcoin, which is at about 71,600 today, currently. The Nikkei, it's a Japanese index, platinum, silver, NVIDIA,
Yeah.
and Euro FX futures. So anyway, that is my short list. I usually am only looking at the NASDAQ, maybe gold. That's about it.
Yeah. And then, for trading, you're just, it's, what is it, top shelf, I forget what it's called.
Top Step.
Top Step. I don't know why I can't remember that, but Top Step, because you can trade right within it. Right.
Yeah.
That makes life, really, I've always liked when you can trade right there within the chart, so that's a good method, I would say. I like that.
Yeah, so what I'm going to start doing is I'm already trading with one of our ex-members. He's around most mornings, so I just trade live with him. We sometimes watch a video where they're talking about the market, and that type of thing, and I'll just basically try to teach him as I go along, lead him into trades. And I think he's going to pass his combine here in another week or two. So he's actually been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me a more careful trader.
Yeah.
When I'm leading somebody into trades. So it helps me make, better decisions.
Yeah. And then you find yourself, explaining out loud. So you're kind of thinking out loud what you're doing. It kind of makes you, I don't know, go a little deeper. It changes. It's odd when you're just by yourself, and it's not verbal. You're just looking at it, and that's one thing. But somehow the idea of verbalizing it and then talking to other people, and then they're listening, and then of course the whole collaboration, it definitely does change things. You somehow you see a lot more than you would see when you're by yourself. So it's I've always thought kind of the group trading, the kind of the team trading always has an incredible advantage, for sure.
Yeah, it has a great advantage, and it's definitely a different dynamic. When I'm by myself, I tend to, I'll see scalping setups. And like I said, the market is sometimes so fast moving that you wouldn't even hardly have time to tell somebody else that, you should go long right now and scalp whatever is going to come up here. Like I found myself looking at the NASDAQ. I don't think it was yesterday. It was the day before in the afternoon. It was showing a little bit of volatility. So I just scalped it, and in probably less than a minute, I was up, $200. So, and that's a pretty slow time for volume and liquidity as well. So it just, it can be easy money, but you also have to be, pretty careful with it.
Yeah.
Now, what's happening in the NASDAQ right now is it's kind of reclaiming, the upper portion of that sideways range, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of what I expected it to do. But right now we're about 15 minutes away from New York Open. I don't know how much time you have, Craig, but if we have time, we can actually possibly get a trade out of this, in the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah. Let's see. What I can do is actually, so I'm, Mondays and Thursdays, I have a 6:30 a.m. call. But what I can do is I'm going to step away for a sec. You can keep going, and then I'll come right back. So we can definitely do that.
You got a laptop that you can
Yeah.
utilize? Great.
Yeah, so I'll just so I have to do a call at 6:30, but I can just mute this and I can take care of that and then come right back. So that way, if you want to keep going, then you can, we can do that at least through that first, trade to see how it goes,
Yeah.
And then, so Mondays and Thursdays I have that call, but other days of the week I don't. And so I can be around for market open. And we can do that. Also was realizing how, now that we're starting to do this, I need to, these are all just details, but I mean, I definitely need to use, two computers, use my main one, then have my laptop for the actual, streaming, and just so I can move along quick. And it's, so, we're getting set up. Yeah. This is where, figuring it out by doing it, which is, that's how you do it. Just get started and get in there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was thinking about showing the platform real quick.
Yeah, definitely do.
Because it's interesting and you can learn. So basically, I'll have to change my screen share thingy. All right, so I'll do present. I'll stop the screen, present a different screen. And this is the Top Step X screen. So basically, I've got my line drawn there. So, you have your basic chart here. And then in the middle, you have something that says order. Now, I know I'm on the right account. I'm not on the practice account. You have a green button here that says buy +1 at market, and a red button that says sell -1 at market. Well, the green button is the long, and the red button is the short. So when you sell, you short the market. Just above the green and the red, you have a little thing that says no active position, and it says 1, 3, 5. Then it has a plus and a minus to the right and left of the 1, 3, 5, 10, 15 numbers. Now, these are considered units. You could also, in a way, consider it like leverage. 1 unit is the lowest risk. And 2 units is like double the gains. So instead of being $5 for a 25-cent move with 1 unit, if you do 2 units, it's $10 for a 25-cent move. So you're basically putting on another unit. So let's say I put on a unit at the bottom of this channel, theoretically, like down here. And then the price, I know the price is going to go up, but it goes down just a little bit. I can put on another unit, and then it would change my entry price to, halfway in between the first one and the second one, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So you're basically, and they don't call it DCAing, they call it building a position in the traditional futures. So you basically use a strategy to create a slightly better spread for profit on the way up, or of course it works the opposite on the way down. So I usually use 1 unit, but sometimes I do use 2. If I'm trying to catch a nice run, I'll slap on another unit. One thing about trading the NASDAQ, unless you absolutely nail the entry, as far as your personal entry, unless you nail the entry, you're going to probably take some heat. You're going to be underwater a little bit for, varying amounts of time. It can get a little bit nerve-wracking, but if you know you're right, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
One thing about the NASDAQ is if you are ready to get into a trade and you have a stop loss, that stop loss is supposed to replace all fear. So the fear that makes people bail out of trades when they're actually would have ended up being right is the worst detractor to trading that there is fear. So if you have a stop loss, you should have no fear of anything, because you've already decided that you're okay with a $350 or $500 loss or whatever it is, because your reward is much higher.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Now on the far right, it says time and sales. Now I can adjust the size of, these are position sizes. These big ones, 16, 17 units near the top, those are big orders, or at least fairly big. I've seen ones that were in the 300s, like 300 units, and they always run in pairs. Now, I would summarize, or I would guess, because the reason they always come in pairs is because people are trading across multiple accounts, basically copy trading their own trades. So I can adjust that and say, okay, only show me orders where they've done 10 units or higher. So there's all the 10 units or higher. The ones that are really serious, that want to push the market and make a lot of money. Or I can just say, show me everything. So the size, show me all the ones and above. And they're just running across the screen. People going short, people going long. It shows their price, where the order got filled. Some of these are market orders, some are limit orders, stop limit orders, etc. So it just shows all the orders in the order book.
Yeah, and then 1 unit that would be equivalent to.
Well, if you got $100,000 account, well, actually, it doesn't really matter the size of the account. You have 1 unit, $5 a tick on the NASDAQ.
Okay.
On the mini. So I don't trade micros just because it's a greatly decreased reward. Okay, we've got New York open in less than 7 minutes. It's a little bit of volatility in here. So yeah, some people trade the micros just because it's a lot less. I think, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but I think the micro NASDAQ is 50 cents a tick. So you can actually put on more units. And if you put on, say, 4 units in the micro, then you would theoretically be at $2 a tick, instead of $5 a tick. So you can kind of adjust that so you can actually make some money without the big drawdown that often happens if you don't nail the entry perfectly. So I actually had a trade the other day. I actually ended up doing really well on it. I had to stay in this trade and weather more than $1,300 in the negative.
Woo! Oh my gosh!
And I stayed in the trade. I think it's one of the few recently that I've actually done without a stop loss. Just because I knew I was right, So I got in almost as soon as I pushed that long button.
Dumps.
It started going down. And I was like, man, I can't wait to get out of this trade. But yeah, I
guess it's something to remember. Yeah, something to remember when it's trading the futures, the NASDAQ, like when you're playing with the big boys, is that you're trading against pros. So that's definitely something to almost expect. Like when it looks perfect, it may do the opposite, at least for a while.
True.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely see that a lot. I mean, I see that a lot in the in Bitcoin trading. You know, it's you know, it's a market cap that big money can
Order
manipulate,
filled.
and they do. You know, so yeah, you
Yep.
got to think like a whale.
Yep. Now I just placed a trade.
There we go. And it's nice with the top step. I love the UI because I love trading right there in the chart. It's just to me that's great. I love being able to trade like that.
I'm just going to do a small take profit and let it push up there.
Mm. Mm. It's a Robert's doing an interesting trade here where it's already right there at the it's pushing a previous high, so it has
Order
to get
filled.
past that resistance.
Order filled.
Order filled. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
75 bucks. So that's just a really small little trade.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit of a risky trade, even
Yeah.
though I knew the price would go there. It's still not New York Open yet. I'm not going to have a trade open right at New York Open because the price can literally just start jumping up and down, and it can have big swings of, you know, $100. Who knows? It could go anywhere. With a market that's so pumped up, you know, I basically just did that trade to show you how easy it is to just take a little scalp.
Yeah.
And how to place an order. I just hit buy market, got in, and then I, on the area that said whether my PNL, where I placed my order, I just hold my left mouse button down and I pushed on it, and I just pushed it up a little ways and then let go. That was my take profit. And that's all you have to do to place a trade. So so we got less than 2 minutes before the open. It's going to be interesting to see these candles move after having a new all-time high set in the NASDAQ yesterday, above 19,100, and then have it just be like range-bound.
Yeah.
With the stuff that NVIDIA is doing, I do kind of think that NASDAQ is just going to go up.
Yeah. If NVIDIA does, probably NASDAQ will as well.
Yeah, I think NVIDIA is going to basically just rule the show, continue to. Yeah, Microsoft used to be the number 1 influencer on the NASDAQ, but now I believe they're number 2.
That makes sense. Yeah, NVIDIA. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's I mean, I guess I'm not sure what their main moneymaker is. I think it's just making GPUs, like graphic processing units.
I think it's GPUs, and I think they also make motherboard parts.
Motherboard parts.
Yep. I'm not sure about memory. I don't think they're a memory manufacturer. But the military is also probably the #1 user of NVIDIA parts. NVIDIA, you know, cards, and because imagine how many computers they have.
Oh yeah.
Probably millions.
Oh yeah. I mean, APIs for data science, high performance computing. Okay, so they make. Yeah, what's NVIDIA's main product? GPUs for gaming, cryptocurrency mining, professional applications, chip systems for use in vehicles. So they make specialized chips and all, and that makes sense. That's one thing about the military budget. I mean, you blow your stuff up, right? So I mean, it's like it's dismal, but I mean, a guided missile has a lot of silver in it. It's got a lot of it's a I mean it's a terrible thing in its existence, but also military spending. I mean, there you go. You put expensive compute, NVIDIA. You put silver, and then you blow it up. I mean,
Good
what,
analogy.
what a racket. I mean, it isn't
Yeah,
like
what a racket is right.
there you go. It's like, yeah, I mean, what more could NVIDIA ask for? I mean,
That's true. Oh, we'll just have to make new ones now.
yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we got. I know. It's good business.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
yeah. Oof. They're doing their thing.
Yeah, and the NASDAQ right now, they're really trying to push this down, but a bunch of shorts will come on. Now a bunch of longs came on. So, sheesh. It is a minute after New York Open.
You got the wick starting now in the 15-minute chart. You're
Yep,
seeing some push here and there.
Yep. So they
Let's
could
see.
easily push this higher.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would actually place an order just above the last high. Just kind of waiting there, to snipe it.
Kind of short that like right at the high there, because it's either gonna retrace from that high or keep pushing.
Yeah, I mean, you could long above the last high, but it's kind of risky because the NASDAQ over the last 15 hours, or actually more than that, has had a habit of making a slightly higher high and then just retracing a little,
Mm-hmm. That's why
leaving all the longs underwater.
yeah. That's where it's such a. I mean, it's nice when you can start your trade at the top or the bottom of a channel. It's a little bit more certain where you're kind of starting your trade, close to the middle, but also right at that previous high. So it's really this, and that's where using Top Step here along with Trading View. So in Trading View, you can really you can see a lot more as to which way the velocity is going.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now we're still range bound. But I do think that something's going to happen pretty soon.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
look at those
interesting to watch.
wicks. Yeah, I mean, to me, wicks always mean people are pushing things around. There's always a bit of a struggle there. Well, I have to hop on a call for just a few minutes. I'm
Oh,
just
sure.
gonna I'm just gonna mute, and I'll be right back. So I will return shortly, just a few minutes.
Okay.
We can just keep the people occupied.
All right. No problem. NASDAQ still chopping around, but it is trying to push. It's putting a little bit of pressure on the top of that sideways channel. NVIDIA just launched with a gap between 1224 and 1233. Definitely a battle going on here. The bulls want to push a higher high, and the bears want to just push the price down and dump it. And they can't decide. They're fighting. Shorts, longs, shorts, longs. No really big orders, nothing above about 12 or 15, 16. Pretty good volume. Although 1 minute volume is declining, it seems, since the New York opening candle. 1 minute. Kind of going into a price squeeze now. So if I was going to guess, I would say they're probably going to dump the market, just because with declining volume, you often give more power to the shorts, generally speaking. Of course, volume can come out of nowhere, volume on demand, but now it has broken the squeeze, and they are trying to push the price down. There it goes. It's 1 minute support right there. Now, if I want to catch an entry on this for a long, I'm going to have to wait until it's pretty heavily oversold. Okay. 19070. We're trying to break that area. It held that bottom pretty well so far. Bottom of the range. I'm watching the order book. There's no big orders still. Biggest long orders are 10s, a couple of 12s in shorts, trying to push the price down. But really, as far as the small orders go, it's about 50-50. Pushing lower a little bit. If you're one of the 500,000 viewers out there watching this, please smash that like button, subscribe, and subscribe to whichever channel you're watching this on, whether it's Radiant Creators or Blockchain Education, and leave a comment. Let us know if you like
this stuff. Yeah, and I'll be, so I'm back. I had to do a quick call there. Yeah, that's why definitely we'll do these not on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I have Mondays and Thursdays when I have that early call at 6:30. But I was listening to you, and it looks like, wow, things did not go the way that we. I guess it's definitely retracing from that high.
Yeah, there's still a battle going on. They're trying. The bears are trying to break that last low, which is actually down in here now. So,
it's a natural bounce spot, though. Who's getting in?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not getting in right now because I'm looking at this going, 1 minute you're going, okay, the bears are going to take over. And then the next minute it's like, okay, well, it looks like the bulls just took over. But really, nobody's taking over yet because there's no really large size orders. And I'm seeing a lot of 7s, 8s, 10s, 11s, occasional 12. So none of the 239s or 300 unit orders yet. Nothing big.
Well, it's definitely a fun game. I mean, it is nice just to master one thing like the NASDAQ or a couple.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're in a ranging market like this, where it's just kind of chopping up and down, you can basically scalp it and just make money.
Yeah.
If I was going to scalp along, I would have gotten in down here, set a stop loss, $10 lower, and just take a little slice off,
Yeah.
$150 or something, but not $150 in price, but $150 in profit.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely we'll find some days of the week that work, and then we'll have the call, the Zoom already scheduled, so people can set reminder, and we can hop on, and I'll have my setup a little bit better. I'll have my, like I say, I gotta have my nice computer here. I'll put the laptop over here and stream from there, and we can really be more interactive, and it'll be good. I'll be able to look at charts and such while we're doing things too, so we can get back and forth, and and we can
just let me know what your schedule is, and we'll plan it, and we'll do a hour and a half show or 2 hours, whatever you want to do. We'll do a training session.
Yeah, and since we'll be on a little bit before the market opens, we can look at just stuff like I often just we can get a hold of the market. We can see what's going on and what we see happening beforehand and things like that. And we can even pick at the crypto market and see which direction it's going. So Sounds good. All right. Well, it's been great, and I will. We'll keep doing this. This is the first one. We're getting the bugs worked out, figuring out how we're going to do it, and it's good. So yeah, this is the maiden journey. What like where like they break the champagne on the bow of the ship. You know, this is
the Dom Perignon.
yeah. So we're gonna break the bottle. Yeah. And so we'll keep after this way. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is great. This is going to be good stuff. So take care, Robert. I'll talk to you before next show, I'm sure. Of course.
Yeah, let's do another show, and next time we'll make some money.
Yeah, we'll make
Real
some
money.
Yeah, it's good. I love helping people get into good setup. So take care.
Yep, you too. Bye.